Hello, welcome to the Dawn Jarvis Show, where our goal is to inspire you by interviewing a diverse range of visionary leaders and entrepreneurs and sharing their entrepreneurial journey. Today, we have a very special guest, Dr. Licy Ngambi. She is a professor and a CEO of Mutepa R.A.R.E Solutions. And today, we are going to learn how to be rare with Dr. Licy. We're going to talk about believing in your potential and never giving up on your dreams. And when you fail, shake it off, step on it and move on and just be rare. Hello, Dr. Licy. How are you today?
Hello, John. I'm fine. Thank you. And thank you so much for having me on your show. Thank you so much.
You are very, very welcome. I'm really looking forward to our chat. Now, I know that you are a very accomplished lady who's had a wide-ranging career and does a lot of things. What I usually ask our guests is, how did you get to be where you are today?
Well, there are some aspects I think that this life teaches you that, to be where you want to be, first and foremost, you must have some vision, as to where you want to go, but you must also have a passion. There are some aspects that, the challenges that you'll face in life that you just have to learn how to manage those challenges. And I faced quite a few of those in my childhood, especially because I was brought up in Zambia, in a very rural area of Zambia, with literally, there was no, you had to walk and things like that, cross rivers, so you really have to have a certain kind of, ability to persevere and have the passion and really want something better in life than where you are. Among the things that, I always say that, you always have to believe in your potential. You always have to always think, well, wait a minute, is this the best that I can be? Or is there something better? I'm sure there's something out there better. So that drives you, and that drove me a lot in the time that I was a child, going to a weekly boarding school without any amenities of the modern infrastructure. In other words, no, electricity, no, tap water. You have to get the water from the river. You have to go to the bush to fetch firewood for yourself as a child, and still cook for yourself and go to school and those things. So you learn a lot about, really being able to never to have to give up. You have this dream, you want to be better. And with me, another thing is my mom asked me at some point in time saying, how far do you want to go? I said, Mom, I want to find out where school ends. I want to find out where the school ends. Yeah, so things like that. So you just have to make sure that that I can do better than I am, and I continue persevering. Whatever challenges you face, you learn to bounce back and to go on and know that there's something in me. I was made for a purpose, and not just to be a failure. I don't think there was anybody who was ever made to be a failure. So you make a choice. I don't want to fail in life. I want to succeed. I want to make something of myself. I want to be able to add value. I want to be able to make a difference wherever I am. And so to do that, you persevere, you continue your work.
That's amazing. I really love everything that you said about never giving up, never feeling inferior. And I love what you said. I want to see where school ends. That's amazing, isn't it? And then I have this picture of you in quite a rural area in Africa. You talked about that wasn't easy, that you didn't have the things that I am used to having, and you went from that to being the successful person you are today. How did you make that leap? You talked about vision, and you obviously went to university and did something different. When did you take that first step, I guess, on the journey to your success?
When the first time that I had to take that step was the time that, right from at the beginning, when in my village where I was, we had to walk for almost 40 to 60 kilometers to go to school, to a weekly boarding school as a child. and to have to take your own own food, enough food to take you from Sunday to Friday. Friday you go back to replenish. So you have to carry that food by yourself. And then you have to, like I was saying, cook for yourself, and you have to also do, go to school and do extra, curricular activities and all that. But there was something that really made a difference. There was a river, we call it Vemba, a big, huge river that you had to cross. When it rains up somewhere there, and you're in the middle, because the river was very wide, and it's still there, it's very wide. And so to cross it, when you reach the middle, and the water comes from, it was raining somewhere, the water comes whilst you are a child, you are carrying all your supplies for the week. You're in the middle of the river, and the water comes, and it sweeps you. And a number of my friends died on that river. And so what my dad asked me to say, look, many of the people in the village are stopping their girl child from going to school because they had rather, just keep them and they get married, and then, other than they die, and other than risk. Then my dad asked me a pertinent question, which I never forgot, even though I was so very young. He said, I'm going to give you a choice. I know you're young, but I'm going to give you a choice. If you want to go on, you'll have to take a risk. You'll have to always be sensitive when you're crossing the river. You'll have to watch out if you think there were rains or not. You'll have to be really. But if you don't want, you will stay here at home. And then he pointed at one of our aunties, our grandmother, said, you will be like that grandmother there, living in that hut, thatched house, never, just cooking and going to the whatever, and you never amount to you not go high in terms of life. So, and you always say you want to help people. You cannot help people if you're also in need of that kind of help. So for you to be able to help others, you have to be better so that you can have something that you can give to them. So it's your choice. I thought about it, and I said, I looked at my grandmother and my auntie grandmother. I said, no, I think I would rather risk it at the end of it, or if it's going to help me, to help her to be better. And that was the defining moment for me in my life.
That's an amazing story. That is an amazing story. So I started taking risks thereafter, and because we didn't have a lot of money and all that. So even to go to school, when I had to go to high school, later on to university and all that, my mom had to brew some drinks to make to sell and make money for me to travel. And that's the time that when we were walking one time with my mom to go and sell something so that she can get transport money for me to go to school. That's when I said, Mom, we are suffering so much. I want to know where school ends. So that's when, that is an amazing story.
So when I finished all my degrees, and became, doctor, a professor, and first vice chancellor, my mom asked me before she passed on, say, my daughter, have you found out now where school ends?
Oh, wow.
I said, Mom, yes, I'm now a PhD is the highest you can get in terms of education, and professorship is the highest you can get in terms of promotion. I've reached that, but learning does not stop, Mom. I found out learning does not stop. Yes, I've found out in terms of the qualifications, but in terms of learning, I'm still learning. So she kind of just laughed, and she just, reminded me and all that. So those were some few defining moments in my life that, helped me persevere, that I ended up, adding value even in my village, and helping out in the village and all that. So it was after all this accomplishment, the first person to bring any kind of electricity in terms of solar, it was me. I had to take some solar to our village. So at least, so I did something that at least my vision was kind of, reached. But then, of course, in all this, I learned to fall, and I would say, shake it off and step it on it. So through it all, in believing in my hypertension, never giving up, persisting and persevering, I learned, to say that, in life, you'll have challenges. What you do is, when you fall, you stand up, you shake it off, you step on it, and you move on. Like, there's a story that we tell, but I'm not going to tell that story because it's a little bit long, but about yeah, but otherwise you just, you fall down, people have, even when people criticize you, even when people work against you, even when situations, you don't have money, you don't have resources sometimes, you feel like giving up, you feel like, am I ever going to make anything of myself and add any value to anybody? You still have to hold on to that dream. You still have to say, wait a minute, I may fall or I may fail, but I'm not a failure. Failing does not mean I'm a failure. I can stand up again. I can, shake it off. I can continue. I can step on whatever it is that is pulling me down and move on and to my success or to my dream, to reach my dream. And that's why I end up saying, just be rare in all whatever you're doing. I always say, don't ever use shortcuts. Just because, when many times when you are in difficulties, you want to, to do some things, that you're not supposed to do. You want to allow maybe some bribery here and there. You want to allow maybe some, corrupt things here and there. They won't sustain you. The only thing that can sustain you is for you to be responsible for whatever decision you make, whatever choice, whatever it is that you are doing. Say, am I being responsible to myself and everybody else I'm interacting with? Am I being accountable for all the resources that are entrusted to me? Be it human resources, be it money, whatever resources I have. Am I being accountable to myself and everybody else, all my stakeholders, especially as an entrepreneur as well? And then, am I being relevant? Am I adding value in what I'm doing to another person? Because you cannot succeed without other people. You cannot, it's not possible. We always need each other for us to succeed. We need to, that's why we have got a philosophy of saying Ubuntu. I am because of other people and I cannot succeed. So you need to be always asking yourself, whatever I'm doing in the organization, in interacting with people at every level, am I adding value? Am I being relevant? That's the R in the R.A.R.E. And the last one, in the R.A.R.E., the E, am I being ethical in my conduct? If you're not being ethical, if you don't have integrity, if your words and your actions are not integrated, you cannot sustain success. You can even be successful maybe for a short period of time, but eventually sustaining that success will need you to be responsible, accountable, relevant, and ethical, hence being rare. That's why I say just be rare if you want to succeed in life. So that's my short story. Otherwise, in many places I've practiced that. When I was at the University of South Africa, we introduced a course, what we called signature course, which included R.A.R.E. values. When I was at Murungushi University as Vice Chancellor, we incorporated that in 2 strategic plans that we have. So Murungushi University, as they say, we say we are rare because those are the values that I also introduced there when I was Vice Chancellor. And so we also had a signature course. So we put a signature on our students when they graduate that this student we are giving out to you is rare. They will not bribe them, corrupt them. They will be able to stand out. So that's why I said just being rare. That is also in my consultants, Mutepa R.A.R.E. solutions.
And how do you help people with your solutions? And just to say, before you answer that is amazing what you just said about how that built up, how you came to it and how you use it and how you used it with your students and now you are using it in your business as well, as because you're still a professor and you're still doing it, aren't you? So so how do you help people with using those values?
See, what I do is, among other things, I run workshops on how to apply how to apply R.A.R.E. values, living the R.A.R.E. way. I do, for example, even I've developed, for example, even a program right now, women in leadership, breaking the ceiling, just being R.A.R.E. Because at the end of it all, if you are, applying, those values, you cannot work against another person. You cannot want to kill another person because they are different from you. You acknowledge that different is not wrong. It may be uncomfortable, but it's not wrong. It actually adds value, innovation, and creativity. You start valuing other people. So even as a woman, there's nothing wrong with being a woman. I don't have to be a man to succeed. And I must know that, I must accept that. I have to break the glass ceiling. I must go on the table with my strength, not the strength of any other person, not the strength of a man. I am a woman and I've got my strength. You are a woman, we are women. So I try to tell people to being R.A.R.E., it's one, you should accept yourself as well. It's okay for me to be me. I can add value with what I have. And I can be able to help somebody else. I can be able to coach another person, to mentor another person, to believe in themselves. And I go into diversity as well, the diversity and inclusion. I talk about that, I write about that, and I do workshops on that as well. Going to organizations, you don't have to start, working against another person, not wanting to promote them, to elevate them just because they're different from you. Knowledge does not have color. Wisdom does not have color. It's okay to be black, to be woman, to be tall, to be short, to be white, to be whatever it is you are. It's okay, but you should not have to impose your, color on another person. In fact, I always say, if you are you are distinguishing yourself because of your color, you want to get favors because you are, say for example, you're white, so you therefore want to get favors. What are you saying? You are saying you are not intelligent enough to make it without your color. Are you saying that? Because if you are saying that, that's when you talk about, say, for a white supremacy or whatever. It's only if you think your color is what makes you. But if you think it's you because of who you are, then surely you should be able to accept any other person. We work with them, compete with them, take their value, take their strength, and let it help your organization grow. With their creativity, their differences, and all that. That's how we can grow as a people and as a nation and sustain ourselves and our futures. So that is, what among other things, I also talk about change and transformation. It's not easy to change. Yeah? When you are getting through changes, it's not easy. So all that, I talk about that as well. Change and transformation. I talk about corporate governance, the importance of corporate governance, and et cetera, et cetera. So those are some of the things that I talk about in terms of Mutepa R.A.R.E solutions and going forward. And I've got passion for it. I believe that if we were R.A.R.E, we would really have a peaceful, not just countries, but continental as well as the whole global village. We would not be killing each other, would not be stealing from each other, would not be looking down on each other, would not be pulling other people down because of they're different from us. Would be building each other up, and then we'd have the best of everything that we need in our organizations at every level.
That's amazing. So I love that. I love that. And you've also written a book, haven't you, on the same themes and topics? Tell us about that.
Yes. I wrote a book, actually. That's what I started all this, because I was asking a lot of questions. Actually, I started questions with, excuse me, why is Africa so rich and poor? What's happening? Those questions led me to finding an answer to say, wait a minute, I think there's something that is missing. I think it's the total leadership in reading the R.A.R.E. So it's R.A.R.E. leadership, leading with the R.A.R.E. total leadership, total meaning with the head, heart, and hands. So it's a R.A.R.E. total leadership, leading with the head, heart, and hands, indicating that, if you're only leading with the head skills and you don't think about, heart, you don't have the heart skills and the hand skills, you can end up being a toxic person, and you can end up being one of the most sophisticated thieves, like the people, the scandals we have heard of, that have brought so many countries, organizations down. It's because most of those people have only got, a head skills. They don't have the appropriate values and character that can sustain those head skills. So you need to be total to lead with the head, the heart, and the hands, but in a responsible, accountable, relevant, and ethical way. That way, all these scandals we have had, the Enrons and all that, would have not have been there. Because then people would have understood that what I'm doing is wrong. I need not cover it up. I'm as well, if I make a mistake, I bring it up before everybody. We talk about it and we see how we can go forward instead of covering it up at the expense of another person, and you end up destroying the institution and the countries that you lead. So that's how I ended up writing this book, and I'm currently writing a second edition. I think it will be very interesting. Cool.
That'd be really good. So the book's available on Amazon.
Yes, it is. It is available on Amazon.
And I'll put a link in the show notes for anybody who is interested in that. So you've had an amazing career. You are very inspirational and very motivational. And one of the things that I ask all of my guests is how, when doing all these things, when being driven to do so many things, you're clearly a very driven lady. You've accomplished a lot, and you share, you teach, and you're still educating people. You write books, you write an update. How do you both stay focused, positive, and productive, and also how do you manage your health and well-being while you are doing all the things that you do?
Well, in terms of the focus, I think it's the passion that I have. When I see people out there, being self-destructing sometimes and destroying other people, destroying institutions, it's just, I cry out in my heart to say, what can I do? Whatever little something that I can do. What is it that I can do? Can I talk to them? Can I? So that pulls me. That's the passion that I have. In terms of health-wise, I try to balance my time. I make time for my family, to have some quiet time with my children. And I am a grandmother as well, so with the grandchildren, like last weekend I spent with my grandchildren too much. And also in terms of personal, I also do some. I walk. I do some walking around, and when walking also it helps me. I reflect and think and all that. So I kill two birds with one stone. So when I'm walking, I'm also thinking, I'm reflecting, I'm looking at the nature and saying, okay, how is it this environment and all that. So that helps me to, to just be healthy. And of course, I'm a Christian, so I also spend a lot of time praying and reading the Bible. I've read the Bible a couple of times from Genesis to Revelations. So I enjoy that as well. I enjoy listening to that. Now I've got an audio one, so I enjoy listening to that sometimes when I'm walking. Yeah, so those are some of the things that just, help me to just balance my life. Thank you.
And do you ever have times when it all gets a bit much, or you talked about never giving up on your dreams? Do you ever have times when you think, oh, it's getting a bit hard now, there's a lot that I'm doing, and it isn't all your responsibility? I know that you feel passionate about it. Do you ever have those moments? And if you do, what do you do about that?
Yeah, well, I think one of the times that I recall that I really said, is this okay? Am I get crazy? When I was asked to be a vice chancellor of 2 universities. It's crazy enough to have to be a vice chancellor of 1 university, let alone 2. I said, oh my goodness me, and it was the government that asked me to do that, because they needed this other one to be transformed. It was a college, so they wanted to be transformed into a full-fledged university, Kwame Nkrumah University. Plus, I was vice chancellor of Murungushi University, then they also wanted me to be vice chancellor of Kwame Nkrumah University. That was hectic. I was like, okay. I reflected. I went into prayer. I said, God, I need your strength. And then I said, wait a minute. We can do this. We can do this. I called my team. I said, look, we have got this, my management team, and I said, we have got this challenge. We have to do. We have been asked to do this, and I really believe that if we sit down together and we strategize how best we can do it, we can be able to. We're given 3 years. I said, actually, they have given us 3 years to transform that university, which means we all have going to be managers of 2 universities for 3 years. So can we cut it down? I even went to work. So can we cut it down? Can we make sure that we transform that university within 2 years and get out of there? So can we rather burn the midnight candle and finish off and come back home and we agreed. You will be surprised, just involving everybody that you work with, all people around you, especially in the organizations, listening to them, getting the ideas and their input and everything, talking together, shared leadership. You'll be surprised how much strength you'll have. If you play God over people's lives, you'll never succeed. If you pray a team prayer, you'll succeed. So I did not say whether you like it. I said, what do you think? When we do this, then we started saying, I think we can. And then we started, ideas started coming up, and together as a team, because I galvanized the resources that I had, human resources that I had, and we shared. I just drew them into that vision that they could also see that the better part of us finishing it sooner than later, and also doing it, and what it would enable us, let alone like talking to you now, that look what we did. That kind of gave us the passion. So when you look back, we'll say, look at what we achieved. We thought it was impossible, but actually it was possible. As Mandela would put it, it all seems impossible until it's done. So
absolutely,
yeah. So that's what helps me in every situation. I always, I don't have that me, I and myself. I always have the we and whoever I have around me, and I can get ideas from anyone, whether that person is a cleaner or anybody, it doesn't matter. They can always add something to your life. So that helps. That has helped me a lot to respect everybody for who they are and to respect their ideas. And if I don't agree with them, I don't say your idea is stupid. No, I say let's interrogate that. Let's see how can that idea work. What about if we did it this way? So we all participate in that. That has helped me a lot in terms of when I've got a crisis and not knowing what to do. Listening to other people, getting their ideas, and going forward. But with me, my inner strength has been, I think, my walk with Jesus has helped me a lot at a personal level.
Oh, that is amazing. So that, you are amazing. And, so all the things you said are, established leadership, research proven leadership techniques, all of the things you said, asking people, galvanizing the team, talking about success and celebrating success. I probably, when you were talking, I was thinking, oh yeah, I remember reading that in that textbook and that. So those are all leadership techniques, and what you've managed to do is to do that to there's strength in other people, isn't there? And there's things that you can do together, and it's not just about you. So you have the passion, you have the drive, but also you have the leadership, which is what you talk about, the rare leadership to get things done. So I really, really love that. Thank you so much for that. How do people get hold of you if they want to work with you, if they want to hear more about your work, and what's the best way to contact you, Dr. Licy?
Well, there's I've got the email on the website. Also on my other email is it's very easy, Ngambi, my first name, and Ngambi, my surname, at gmail.com. So it's hNgambi@gmail.com. They can also get me at, on my business one, as well on R.A.R.E. But all those are there. They are on my the website of the R.A.R.E. website, which is www.mutepa.com. So it's very easy as well. Yeah, it's just mutepa.com. Yeah. So
I will put all of those on the website, and you're also on LinkedIn, and you've got a Facebook page as well. So Dr. Licy, it has been an absolute pleasure. Have you got something to leave the audience with, like an actionable tip that they can go away with and reflect about all the things that we've talked about today?
Yeah, love just those things. Believe in yourself, never give up on your dreams. If you fall down, whatever happens, shake it off, step on it and move on, and just be rare.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Dr. Licy. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you. I've learned a lot, and it's been really wonderful to hear about all of your work. That's it for the Dawn Jarvis show today. And if you like what you've heard, please like, share, subscribe, and comment below. And we'd really love to hear what you think about us. And that's it today, and we'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.